Hey guys, today we're going to take a look at a very interesting mechanical watch. This is the Atowak Ettore Lite. So Atowak is a Chinese company. They were founded a few years ago, I believe. They're not that old. I think they're only like 1 or 2 years old. So they came out very recently, but what's interesting about them is that they make very, very unique designs for their mechanical watches. So I think their first model is actually called the Windows, which is I know it's totally unrelated to Microsoft, but it's called the Windows or Windows Pro, and it's a watch that's based on the design of a old school FM tuner. So if you've ever seen like an old school like FM tuner that's in a car or an old radio, they based a watch on that design. So that's really cool, and the way you read it is really unique too. And then recently they had a Kickstarter to produce another watch that they call the Ettore. So they have the Ettore Drift, which is a $1,300 watch. You might think that's expensive, but actually it's not given the design. The design is like, you have like these different hands that go around in a circle. I think they have 3 different kind of rotating hands. It's called the wandering hands movement. So that's the Ettore Drift. That's their highest end watch right now, and that uses the wandering hand movement, which I think is pretty cool. But this model is called the Ettore Lite, which I think is also pretty cool, and it's half the price. It's $650 retail, but I got it on a Black Friday sale for about $400. So this watch is, to me, you know, $400 is not very expensive for a watch, right? And considering that mechanical watches can go all the way up to tens and thousands of dollars. And my most expensive watch, which is my Oris GMT, that one's $2,000. So $400 to me is, this would actually be one of my cheapest mechanical watches. So yeah, I think this is a really cool design, really cool movement. Let's take a look. So first of all, it comes in this really cool case here. It is some kind of faux leather case. I've never seen this kind of case before for a type of watch. This is the type of case you'll see for most watches, right? The case that looks like that looks something like this, right? Just a typical watch box. Using Bulova as an example, typical watch case right there. This is a totally unique design for the case. I think Atowak in general, they like to make really unique designs, and that's what I like about them. Atowak international warranty. You get this with the package here, so I'm not sure actually how long their warranty is, but they give you that card. So this is the design of the Ettore Drift, which is their highest end model. Like I said, with the wandering hands movement, that's what it looks like. It's a type of design that would only appear in very high-end watches, like I said, by Urwerk or other companies, but Atowak brings it to the masses. That's with that $1,300 price. Again, not cheap, but it is affordable for this type of movement. 2-year warranty, okay, that's what it has. So yeah, interestingly, for a Chinese company, they're actually very different in design. You would not think that for a Chinese company, right? Most people just think Chinese companies copy other more well-known makers. Atowak kind of makes their own styles. Yeah, and even the way they did this movement, I'm sure, is a bit different from even the luxury manufacturers. And I think that is all, nothing else in the box or anything. Then you have the Drift Lite, which is a different, right? This is the Drift, right? The Ettore Drift, and then this is the Ettore Lite. It's a different design, but I think has nevertheless a very interesting design. And this is the cheaper design, which actually is kind of surprising because I know the wandering hands movement is, you know, really special and stuff like that, but to me, like, there's only one moving part right here, right? And that's the 3 hands with the rotating, the rotating hands right here, right? There's like 3 different hands with rotating hands on them. I know it's probably very complicated to make, but there's only one moving part that you see on the watch dial itself, right? Whereas here, there's multiple moving parts. There's this part here that shows this shows the hours, and then this shows the minutes, and then this shows the seconds. So there's three parts here that are actually moving, whereas with the wandering hands movement, there's only one part because this part is static. The part that shows the minutes is static, and it's only one part that's moving here, although it's a very complicated part, right? This is a very complicated part, the wandering hands movement, but it is, to me, the only part that's moving. So I think it's not quite as interesting. Maybe some people think it is. I mean, they did price it the highest, and it is on, you know, the very high-end luxury watches. So I'm sure most people will actually go for this one. And the wandering hands movements, it's interesting. And this shows the different hours and stuff. As it goes into the other part of the dial, it has to like kind of rotate to go to the next hour, and it has to be done in the proper sequence, right? So that's pretty cool. To me, the light is just as interesting, if not more. There is more parts that you can see on the dial here. All right, and they do have a lot of different colors, right? So I picked white, but they also have black and green as well. I think white to me is, yeah. To me, I think it fits the best because it's kind of simple. It doesn't detract from the design of the watch in any way. The black and the green seem almost kind of too much for my taste. But you know, that's just me. For me, black and white works. So yeah, it's a black leather strap right here. Logo here, AK. Yep, they even have it on the buckle here. So that's cool. On the crown, they have this star symbol here. Yep, and then interestingly, the crown is on the left side. Most watches have the crown on the right side. Atowak has it on the left side. Again, this design is very unique and different. On the back here, you have this is the automatic movement, right? Now, I believe they use a Miyota movement here. It's a heavily modified Miyota movement, which is a Japanese movement, which is used in a lot of lower priced watches, and that's fine. For the price of this, you're not paying very much. So yeah, just based on what Atowak has said, the movements that the Ettore is based on is the Miyota 9015 and the Miyota 8215. So that's what they're using here. I guess that's how they can keep the cost down a bit. You see it's using heavily modified Miyota movements, which is fine, I guess. And again, the design of this watch is very special and unique. I've never seen this on any other watch so far. It's very eye-catching, and certainly if you wear this watch, like, you'll get a lot of looks and attention, right? It is a conversation starter. And the way you read this dial here is a retrograde dial. So this part of the dial here is the hour, and you can see that there is a pointer pointing to the hour right here, and this is the minutes. And then this is the seconds here. And when a normal like watch, right? For most watches, you have the seconds either be like a second hand or a second subdial. But in this case, it's actually this wheel here that's moving. So this tiny wheel here that's moving to count the seconds, which I think is pretty cool. And then they have a bit of lume here as well. So for watches, you know, lume, when it's dark time, the nighttime, you have the parts of the lume light up to show you the time in the dark. For Atowak, they take this to a level further. This part here, that seemingly doesn't really do anything right here. It's just for looks, cosmetics. The outline here is actually going to light up in the dark. And this part here with the dial here, the hours, the minutes and seconds will all light up in the dark as well. In my case, since I got the white dial, it's going to light up in blue, and I think that's a really cool effect. So yeah, let's see. We can actually adjust it like this, right? So I can adjust it like this, minutes, and I can actually move the hour. You can see the hour actually moving as well, right? So say right now is 8:45, and I can move it to exactly 8:45 like this. Kind of in the, push the minutes kind of in the middle like that. And that would read 8:45. So yeah, very, very interesting design. And I think this, as this goes to next hour, yeah. Is that 8:45? Hold on. Yeah, I think this is actually 8:45, my bad. Yep, okay. Because then now it's almost showing 9, which is correct. Okay, yeah. So this is 8:45. It's very close to 9, but it's actually still in the little section after the 8 here. So the way that you read this dial is very different from other watches, so you have to get used to it. But once you do, it's not that hard, right? So you can tell that the hour hand is in this little section between the 8 and 9 here, so that tells you that it's 8. And then 45 is kind of, it's what this little black thing is pointing at. So there's a tiny little black thing here, and that's going to point you to the minute. And the seconds here is always constantly moving, of course. And there's different, what I like about the light is that there are a lot of moving parts here on the dial that you can see. So yeah, even the more fancy, expensive drift version with the wandering hours, like that only has one moving part basically. It's a very fancy, complicated moving part, but there's only one moving part on the dial. This part, you got 3 parts really here that's moving. So the light version to me is actually more interesting, and it's more affordable compared to the full drift version. So that's why I got this version, and here's how it looks like on my wrist. Again, this is a big watch. This is a very big watch. So once you put it on your wrist, it's very noticeable. I can't really say what the diameter equivalent would be here, but I can tell you that, I mean, my wrist is pretty average sized. So you put this watch on here and yeah, this is a pretty big watch. So definitely something that people will notice you having. It's like an oversized watch almost. I mean, this is like how a normal wristwatch size would be like, right? But then you expand it with this oval shape almost, and on your wrist it appears very, yeah, very oversized and very noticeable. So yeah, this is the kind of watch you probably would not want to wear in formal occasions just because it's so noticeable, so attention grabbing. But you know, I would wear it to parties. I mean, it's a very fun looking watch that's a big conversation starter. So I would definitely wear it to, like, yeah, house parties or something like that. Like something where you can easily get people's attention and it's not really that formal or anything. So yeah, that's it. That's the Atowak Ettore Lite. So yeah, very, very interesting automatic design. Got it for only 400 bucks. Very affordable, and yeah, this is just an amazing, interesting design that I've never seen from other watchmakers too. Like, imagine if a Swiss company made a design like this. Like, yeah, the prices would probably be through the roof, right? They can probably charge an arm and a leg for it. But since it's a Chinese company using a Miyota movement, you can still get pretty decent quality, but at a much more attainable price, right? So that's it, guys. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. The Atowak Ettore Lite, very, very interesting design. Yeah, just a conversation starter. From a micro brand, I would say that this company is definitely a micro brand right now, but it's a very interesting micro brand because of the types of watches that they make. So that's it. Thanks for watching.